Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. We are so glad that you're here. We are glad you're here and we're glad we're here. How about that? Our daily Reset for Success series is here to help us all reset our lives so we can live a healthier, happier, more creative, and prosperous life. And today we have a wonderful guest co host, Ann Selcer. Good morning, Ann.
Hi, good morning.
And my co host, Lady Lou, the
Hello,
baby boomer
hello.
babe.
Yay. Hi.
How are you ladies today?
Doing great, doing great.
Yes, just
Good, good.
wonderful. We're excited to be here. Anne is one of the most fun people we know and has the most interesting work. Oh my goodness, this company she has. It just boggles the mind that it's a job. Well,
Well,
Hooked on concrete. I love
yes,
it.
yes.
I love it. Well, Anne, how about if you give us just a real brief background on you and then launch into what you're doing now?
Okay, well, my background is 40 years of, well, probably about 35 years of HR. I was in human resources and in corporate for 35 years. And then the last 11 years until 2018, I was a professor of healthcare administration at Texas Women's University. So I retired in 2018 and I decided, I don't know. Well, people think I was just doing it randomly, and maybe it was a little bit, but I had a real desire to try to run my own business, to be an entrepreneur, as you might say. And the thing about being an entrepreneur is it was such a difference from being
Did we lose her?
I don't hear a thing. Do you?
Not a word. It has disappeared.
Okay, Ann, if you can hear us, you have completely frozen.
situation. I hear you, but
Oh, there
anyway,
you are. Now
Now
you're
okay,
back.
sorry. Well, I don't
You're
know.
back. It's okay.
Okay, so where was I? Okay, so anyway, so I decided to be an entrepreneur, and what that meant, I felt like I would do really well at it because I have such a um, well, I'm really very caring about people. I thought I've always been a good boss and supervisor everywhere I worked. People liked working for me. So I thought that I would have a really good relationship with my employees. I was going to do all the right HR things that maybe I couldn't always do working for someone else. So that's really why I wanted to do that. And also, why concrete?
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing about it was that it's decorative concrete. It's not pouring concrete. So I saw it as being an artistic and a construction. And I kind of like the idea. I was a mentor to my students, and I thought it'd be really cool to be a mentor to a young man who I knew that maybe didn't have other opportunities, didn't go to college, but had the abilities to do something and perhaps take over the business. Now, this person that I chose was not necessarily anybody special. It just was just a representative of somebody that I thought would do well, and I thought that I'd be a good boss and that we could make it. And but there were problems with that. I won't go into it too much, but I've learned a lot about, well, supervising as a boss of construction people is a lot different than supervising in corporate and being in a situation. This was really the first time I was in a situation where where I didn't have a role as a manager or a professional, where they recognized me as a professional, and then of course as a professor. So people just knew me as Ann, which was fine, and I didn't go Ann Ph.D. like I did on here. I had to kind of think about that the last minute. Do I want to put the Ph.D. on here? So they just saw me as, I guess, a dumb blonde, and they just really didn't respect me, and it was they wouldn't do what I asked them to do, and it was very hard. So my point was, I learned a lot in that field. Also, I had 9 people work for me, one thing after the other. One guy stole my truck, and took my credit card, and I had to go back and steal it back. So that was a really bad experience. And then on top of that, he didn't know, because I had to fire him. Well, and he said he didn't think it was worth firing over, but anyway, so with HR, like, okay, this is so different. So anyway, so I had to do the job that he was going to do that weekend, and it was a year ago, 4th of July weekend. It was so hot, and it was in Galveston, and I had to go out there, and I literally was almost fainting. I had to fall out, lay on these people's yards. It was terrible. So I realized then that I need to do some regrouping here. So I still am very I want to do the concrete, but I also said, well, my skill is really going to be more on the administration of it, and getting somebody who is motivated to do it, and also the marketing, because I knew really nothing about marketing. I just thought, well, I would put something out. It's so pretty. That's all you got to do. But how do people find out about it? I had a website, which I paid somebody to do. I didn't really like it, but it was something that went along with this concrete people. And I didn't like it, but it was a website. And I paid good money for it. And last year, at the end of the year, I went to a concrete conference, and they had a marketing guy who was marketing decorative concrete. Who knew? It was a whole niche. And he looked at my website. He goes, well, nobody's going to your website. It's just like a dead thing. Now, who knew that you had a beautiful well, it wasn't beautiful, but people weren't looking at it whether it was beautiful or ugly, because it wasn't going to. No.
Uh-oh, she's frozen again.
Yeah. So I guess the internet is still having its issues,
Yeah. Are you back, Ann?
She's back. Yeah.
You're back. Okay.
I wasn't ever gone.
No, you were gone.
Okay.
You found a niche, but your website didn't really draw people.
Right. So I realized that I did have a Facebook, but the Facebook wasn't connected to the website. So you have to have a pixel in your Facebook to go to the website. So I was having a lot of people going to my website, and a lot of people going to my Facebook and liking it, but they weren't converting to sales. So you can have a really great Facebook and people really liking the pictures, but if they don't sell, then what good is that? It's just it's still a dead website. And I thought I was targeting people on my Facebook to the right. I was fine tuning my targeting, but it still wasn't converting to sales. So then I thought, well, then I'm going to redo my website, and I did it myself in Wix. And I think it's pretty. It's a lot prettier, but I still wasn't getting any traffic to my website, which weren't converting. So there's just more to this marketing than what I knew. And so that's when I decided, okay, I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm going to learn more about marketing. And I started finding out about, it's called search engine optimization, SEO. So search engine optimization is what builds your website and any type of advertising up to the top in Google. Because as you know, when you Google something, you say you want, most people won't say decorative concrete, but say ugly driveway or repaint driveway or something like that. You look at the first page of your Google. Well, actually, when you look at your screen of the Google, there's like maybe 3 or 4 on that first page. But actually, for instance, in decorative concrete, there was like 10 pages. And my website was like on page 10, and nobody was ever going to look at it. So there's 2 parts. It's called organic. And then there's the where you see the Google Maps. That's where it really is gold. And the Google Maps and the first page of the web is where you want to be, or people aren't going to, 94% of the people, when they Google something, are not going to go even to the second page, never mind the 10th page. And who knew that? So that's when I started to really learn how to do this SEO and to bring my website out. And I did it okay, so this is where I'm going into a little bit of a different field, in that I started to make websites that just to bring up the SEO. For instance, the name of my concrete company is Concrete Trends and Innovations. I changed the brand. It was called CTI. Now I like the Concrete Trends and Innovations. But what I started to do was rank a website called Woodlands Decorative Concrete. Now, that's not my company. It's just a website that I'm bringing up so that when people Google concrete or whatever, there's different keywords that you use. They Google it, and in the Woodlands, and the reason I picked the Woodlands is that one of my workers is up in the Woodlands, and I'm trying to keep him busy. So I practiced on this one, and it was, so if you were looking for concrete in the Woodlands, and you wouldn't find my site until the 10th page, and there's a lot of places in the Woodlands. It's a big area. So then I did this SEO, the magic stuff, and I don't, I'm not going to go into that here, but there's all kinds of stuff you do to bring it up. And now it's #1 on Google. It's #1 on the map pack, they call it, and it's on the first page, Woodlands Decorative Concrete, when you do the keywords. So I should be getting calls, that they're calling them leads. That's the leads, and I'll give the leads. Well, actually, I'll sell the leads to this guy that's doing the work up north of town, north of Houston. So that's what my business is going to be, is to get leads, sort of like home advisors for contractors.
Oh my goodness. How about that?
Public safety alert. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So aren't you glad you don't have a cell phone, Lady Lou?
Yeah, well, they're coming at us from every direction.
That's a first. So wear a face mask. Anyway. So anyway, my point is that I'm making several. I've got at this point, I've got 20 of these websites to rate, and I'm working on bringing up the Google. It takes a while to bring up the SEO and bring it up in Google, but once it's there, it starts getting leads. That's there, and you can sell the leads. Sort of like what people do. Contractors have to pay a lot of money for home advisor leads, and home advisor leads are, they go to 3 people. As a consumer, you might get 3. You go to a home advisor, and they give you 3 people. Well, from the contractor side, they're having to pay whether they get that job or not. And they're competing against at least 2 other contractors. So and it's very expensive. So this would be a way they would have exclusive leads. And they pay for that, because if you don't have any customers, you don't have a business. So I would be, and I see that as being really a service. Around us, there's a lot of businesses that are, they're going back down again, right? I can help to provide leads. So that's that part of the business.
Yeah. Well, Ann, let's talk about the decorative part. See, when you say decorate concrete, my mind just goes, what? How? What? How do you decorate concrete?
It's just you take a slab or a driveway, as long as it's not all messed up really bad, but it could be cracked, it could be anything, but it's ugly. And then you take that and you clean it off really good, and the reason you do it isn't necessarily to clean it off, but you use acid wash to open up the pores of the concrete.
So like a spray, you spray.
Yeah, the spray, but then you also put acid on it to open up the pores. So it's not so much to make it a color, because you're going to put something over it, but it's to open up the pores. Concrete is very porous if you do it right. And then you put a layer of thin. It's called a microtopping, but it's of concrete and polymers, different really strong plastics. It's all chemistry. But it clings to the concrete, and it's stronger than concrete. So say you had cracks and things, well, you can cover those. You fix the cracks first, then you cover it with this topping, and then you decorate it. There's different things you can do to decorate it, make it look like flagstone, make it look like brick. And it's all pretty much like putting down, some of it's putting down a stencil, just like putting down a stencil, and you can put different, like kind of paint over it, kind of like watercolor. There's just different options that you have depending on what the customer needs. You can make it look like anything. Just depends on how much they want to pay too, because that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
On your hands and knees.
Yeah, some of it, like for instance, on my front, I had new sidewalk put down because I didn't like the sidewalk. I needed something wider. But then I had the guys take a circular saw and they cut actual ridges in the sidewalk to look like they're different stones. And then we cover them, and then each stone we spray. It's like a watercolor, made it look not pastels, but more like earth colors. But each stone look is a different one, so it looks like it's a natural stone. And then you put a real strong it's called polyasperic. It's another type of sealant, real strong sealant. And the sealant goes through the layer that you did and all the way down into the concrete underneath that's porous now and sticks in there. So again, it's chemistry. And that's what's so cool about it, I think. It's like it's interesting to people who have the mechanical engineering mind, but it's interesting to us who really like the design. We like, the wives, I will be a little bit sexist here in that way, but it's usually the wives want it to look good. The husband cares about, whether it's sturdy, but so it's very durable. And then, but he'll leave it to the wife to like how it looks. Because another thing I found out that men don't see colors like women. Men don't see the number of colors, and they don't even have to be colorblind, but they see something, and the woman will be like, no, it's not like that. And I'm agreeing with her. And that was another thing with my workers. They would do something, and they thought it looked like great. They thought it looked great. And so I had to really supervise and actually do the colors, because the wife would come home and say, this is horrible, and I'd have to redo it, because I would agree with her. But the guys would think it looked great. Even though the husband goes, looks great. No, she'd be unhappy. So I wanted my customers to be happy. It's a funny process. And it's artistic. It is artistic. You have to have a little bit of eye to it.
Yeah.
So we have a question in the audience. It's Karen. She said, so it went to #1 on Google for concrete. What do you think was the main grab to get people to go to your website?
Okay, so it's #1 on Google for concrete, decorating, and things like that, these keywords. They look for keywords, but it's in the woodlands. So it's the keywords that people Google for. Like if you look for, it's all has to do with these Google bots and the analytics. It doesn't have anything to do with people actually looking for something. Like you think maybe I'm looking for something pretty. No, it has to do with what keywords that people look for. So that's one of the first things you have to do when you decide on what you're going to do with your site is you have to look up, and there's all kinds of software. I go behind the scenes and look and see what are people searching for in the woodlands for decorative concrete or ugly patio or patio refurnishing. So I have like 50 web keywords that you put in or phrases. And then so that isn't the one that's been SEO'd, but yeah, that's my website. That's, but so you see how I thought it looked really pretty, right? It looks pretty. It's got the colors and everything, but nobody goes to it.
Oh.
But they go to this other one which isn't as pretty because it has the right keywords. So that's,
Well, I have a couple questions about concrete. So, like when I was flooded with Hurricane Harvey, we lost all of our carpet, of course. And so we were thinking about putting some tile down. And we thought about carpet again. No, don't really want to do that. Is it okay to put decorative concrete in instead of carpet or tile?
Yeah, I mean, we have to look at it and see, because if it had a lot of glue on it, we'd have to grind it off. If it's glued down real hard. But yeah, it can be done. It's just how much work. And a lot of people have done that and made it like that acid stain look. You know what I'm talking about? And we can do acid stain. That's a different process, acid stain, because it really is acid stain, and then you put a sealer over it, and it can be very beautiful. That's a little different than what I was telling you about layering it with a covering. So, but yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing. And then there's even this one but it's really expensive. It's called metallic epoxy, and it's actually has this metal look in it, and it just really, it's just so beautiful, and it's so wonderful. You put these maybe two or even more epoxies and they have metal in them with really different colors, whatever you want, and you put them on real fast, and then you let it just swirl together. It does its own thing, and it reacts, and it gets really, really hot. I mean, you have to put it down real quick, let it go, do its thing, so it's all organically looking, and it's really hot because that's part of the chemical process. And yeah, I know it's real, and it looks really cool, but that's expensive. The materials are expensive. So I've seen it, and I know other dealers are doing it, and I would like to do it, but that's going to have to target an audience that's pretty high end. High end, yeah, high end.
Well, how do you clean it inside? I know the outside you just take a hose to it, but how do you clean the concrete inside the house?
Well, just like you would your floor. It's
a damp mop. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a sealant on the top of it.
Oh yeah, you put a sealant on it. No, and this epoxy. This is what they put in garages. The we can do that too.
Yeah,
you decorate your garage floor. Now it's a little different. It still is epoxy, so it's still the chemistry of epoxy, but it's not where it flows together and gets all hot. It's a different type of epoxy, and it's not the metallic. But people do that, say, in car showrooms, high-end car showrooms. If you want to sell your Lamborghini, but yeah, no, we do that too. Does garages. That's mostly like for the guys. And say on my website, it'll be a little bit less bright. And, it'll show the garage, and it'll have the flex in it. They like the flex. And one guy wanted to have his garage to match his Corvette, this real bright blue. Yeah, I mean, we didn't end up doing the metallic. He wanted it all bright and everything. Well, when he saw the cost, it was a little different. But we could even go to Chevy and get the same metallic coloring as his Corvette and put it in.
Oh,
so that would have been cool, but he didn't want it. Once he saw the price, it was like,
It's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, but, a guy in their Corvette.
Yeah. So, Anne, I'm getting the impression that you love decorative concrete and all, but you'd really rather do the promotions for other companies and sell the leads. Is that the impression I'm getting?
Okay, so I see myself as being, well, I would like to say a Shark Tank person. I help people and help companies, and kind of put in the infrastructure. So that's the marketing, whatever it's taking, but mostly marketing. I do love the marketing. There's so much to it. And I've been doing more other marketing things besides that lead generation. But yeah, the concrete would be still another one. And I'm trying to get the leads for the workers that I have. So yeah, I'm still doing decorative concrete. I just can't physically do it. And I need to have other people. And so my long-term goal would be to have these things all going, because like these lead generation websites go on their own. You don't even have to, once you rank them, you really don't have to touch them again. So I kind of see myself as getting everything going right now during COVID while we're all locked down. I'm going to do all my work. That's why everything's so compressed. Let's get this over. Let me launch a marketing agency where I've got these leads for people. I'm learning how to do funnels, which is another marketing concept. I'm working with that, and just having other people actually do the work. So I have the concepts, and every once in a while I might want to help do a funnel or figure out the creative side, or help do the concrete, or decorate the concrete. I'd really love, I have a contact who does mosaics, beautiful mosaic, like for Disney World, and they've done it for Monterey. They just did it, and of course it's been shut down. It's in Monterey at their aquarium, and it's huge. And if you ever see it, it's got a big whale in the middle. It just opened, but the aquarium's still not open. But if you see that, I know her. I'd love to do that. But that's called public art. So.
Well, I know that when I had a house in Florida, and I saw a YouTube or something. We didn't have TikTok back then, but I saw a YouTube video about how you could create your own pathway with concrete. So I literally went out and got a wheelbarrow, and I got a bag of concrete, and I got the color and all that stuff. But I wouldn't call it decorative. It wasn't.
Right.
So once you have that completed, is there some kind of sealant on the top that you could make it prettier, more decorative?
Right. You could decorate. You put the bottom layer on, and then you decorate whatever color, whatever you want it to look like. You decorate that, and then you put the sealer on top of it. So there's the polymer or whatever the material you want, But let's talk about the pathway. You'd already have a sidewalk there. Then you put the polymer / concrete mixture over it, make it smooth. Then you can decorate it just like painting, just like or putting a template on, or they grout over it to make it rough, look like stones, whatever you want. It's like I said, it's very artistic at any color. And then you put a sealer on top of it, and it's stronger and lasts longer than concrete.
So your company, after I have my path in, your company would come out and layer that with the decoration?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Seal it, right?
And seal it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
Nice.
What would you have liked? What would you like it to look like a flagstone, or with different colors, or stones? Would you have liked that? We could have done that. We could do make it look like bricks, a brick path. It's a little different than stamped, which is a lot of the stuff you see, because stamped is usually done on wet concrete, like when you're doing the concrete, putting down the concrete, then they put the stamp on it. Mm-hmm. What this is not that. It doesn't. Concrete's already there and dried up.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I've seen the paw prints, and I've seen the hand prints. No, that's not what you're talking about, I'm sure. Karen has another question. She says, do you need to know about concrete to search through your website, or can anyone that wants decorative concrete can get an idea of what you do or will do?
Yes. If you looked at that one that you brought up, there's some pictures. All the different sites, say Woodlands Decorative Concrete has some pictures in it. See that? See there, you go in there, and then there's another place. If you keep going in my website, there's a whole slew. That's it. There's a whole slew of pictures that you can look at, and I usually send somebody to that. If I get the lead and I'm talking to them, they're not sure what they want, I'll send them to that website. Also, it's on Facebook. Sometimes they'll call because I'll put different things on my Facebook, and they like that because you can make it look like wood plank, and which is so cool. Wood plank. Yeah, I mean, instead of a deck, because it rots. It looks, oh my gosh. And there's some people that do it like craftsmen. It's just so beautiful.
Oh, I'll bet it is. Oh my gosh, our time is gone, Ann. This is fascinating. But thank you so much for enlightening us. My goodness. We got
thank you for getting me to do my hair. After all these months, it's like that has actually been a barrier to me doing videos. My hair had to be highlighted. So,
well, you look beautiful.
Thank you very much. Talking about reset for success, you just did it. Thank you, Lady Lou.
Thank
you do that for all of us. Thank you. And you too, Marian.
We appreciate you. Now stick around after the show. But we thank you, our audience. We thank you, Marian, for doing all your technical wizardry. And we will see you tomorrow, Saturday. We'll see you Monday morning on our work from home show. We may have a real big surprise for you on that show. So tune in at 12 noon Central on Monday. Thanks, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Remember, create a fantastic day.